because we have to kill the bighorn sheep to keep it alive. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of the trip.
I'm not.
All right, I will explain. So, about 200 years ago in all of North America, the bighorn sheep population was estimated to be between 1.5 and 2 million. They were pretty abundant. Unfortunately, once they started interacting with domesticated sheep, it almost wiped out their population. They caught so many diseases they weren't prepared for, that and unregulated hunting, that within 100 years their population was down to around 15,000. Now, thanks to conservation efforts, today there are about 70,000 in all of North America, and we are lucky enough to have about 6,000 right here in Arizona. So if you were to go wandering through the deserts of southern Arizona, you would come across some big natural-looking ponds, some really large lagoons, but they're not natural at all. They are actually all man-made, and they are there specifically to help keep the bighorn sheep alive. Now, they can drink that water and eat the aquatic plants. There are about 300 of those ponds scattered throughout the desert. They cost about $70,000 each to build, and the only way Arizona Game and Fish can get funding to build and maintain those does divide two different ranges. Off to our left, that range is known as the Stuart Mountain Range. Now, Stuart Mountain is that mountain directly behind the marina. This range runs all the way south down to Florence Junction. It angles to the east toward the town of Globe, a little bit north toward Roosevelt Lake, and then back this direction. So the last census determined that there are approximately 80 bighorn sheep in this range off to our left. They also determined that if just one male, one of the rams, is removed from the herd, it will not adversely affect their population, so they sell one hunting permit. That's it. One. Now, if you were to hunt the right side of this lake, it's a little bit larger range. It runs all the way north of Payson up on top of the Bighorn Rim. There are 250 sheep in this range, so they sell 3 permits. So statewide, every year they issue around 104 permits every year. But last year, over 14,000 people applied for 100 permits, so you can tell the odds of getting drawn are really, really slim. The way it works is pretty simple. You give Arizona Game and Fish $350, and they hang on to it for 6 months. After 6 months, they make their selection. If you are not drawn, you do get your money back, but they are able to generate a lot of income by sitting on about $5 million for half a year. They've raised $8.5 million, in fact, over the last 25 years, and all that money goes to conservation efforts. You can tell with that many people applying, it is an incredibly desirable big game tag. There are people that apply from all around the world to try to get that coveted Arizona bighorn sheep. It's so desirable that they auctioned off a permit just a couple years ago, Game and Fish, and it was known as a governor's permit. It's not just one range, it's good for the whole state. Now, one unfortunate part about these permits, at least in my opinion, is they're not transferable. You cannot sell that permit, and you only get one a lifetime. And the reason you can't sell it is kind of a bummer, because that permit they auctioned off sold for $315,000. Incredible. And they issued 104, and again, about 102 hunters were successful. So they have a pretty high success rate, over 99%, but that's because if you are ever lucky enough to get that once-in-a-lifetime draw, you probably better hire a guide, and they can run from anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000. So the moral of the story is, if you want to hunt big game sheep in Arizona, you better be either really lucky or really wealthy.
Remember that whole bunch of the sheep always jumped out?
Oh, yeah.
And they ran up and
It's over here too. There's so many over there. Yeah. That's video. Right. We were so excited. God.
How much was it?
5.
You gave her 5 or was that
side. I'm going to keep my formal level procedures on this dynamic stage. Well, we are pretty lucky today because we've got a whole handful of Arizona natives on board. So we're going to give them a quick little quiz on our state, and you'll learn some pretty neat facts along the way. So when I was a kid growing up here, we learned about what was known as the 5 C's of Arizona. And that's the letter C. Now, those are the areas of commerce that Arizona was best known for. Keep in mind, this is a pretty old list. It was probably put together back in the 1940s. So the first C stands for, to surprise you, I don't think you would guess this, even if you're from the coal country. There's a little area up in northeast Arizona known as Holly Lake. Now, it sits up in the White Mountains, and it sits at about 9,000 feet elevation. I did mention a little bit earlier that we get a lot of this water from that part of our state in the form of snowmelt. So that tells you that it does get pretty cold up there. How cold? Back in 1971. Like they did before you got here. So they have a lot of, what did he say? We don't do that. We feed it to the ducks. We have the only ducks with high cholesterol. But like a lot of the hospitality industry, a portion of our wages does come from tips. So if you do feel so inclined, we do have a little tip jar at the bar and one at the front gate as you exit the boat. We certainly thank you very much for that. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thanks again so much for coming out. Make sure you continue to drink lots of water. And we will hopefully see you again aboard the Desert Belle. Thanks. Thank you. Let's see, what happened back here? Okay, you may safely leave. Check under your chairs for cell phones or purses or small children. If you don't want to leave. Watch your step on those stairs.
Danny. Danny. You put it
Lovely day out here today.
Thank you so much.